The November wind cut through the streets like a knife, and 16-year-old Tyler was feeling every bit of it. His worn-out sneakers squeaked against the sidewalk as he made his way down Main Street, his basketball still tucked under his arm. Practice had run late again, and his stomach was growling so loud he was pretty sure the people across the street could hear it. Tyler had been planning this moment all week. Every dollar he earned from his part-time job at the grocery store went straight into a little envelope he kept hidden in his desk drawer. His mom didn't need to know about this. She already worried enough about making ends meet, working double shifts at the hospital while trying to keep food on the table for him and his little sister Lily. Tonight was supposed to be his night. Just one good meal at Danny's Diner, the kind of meal where you didn't have to stretch it across 3 days. The diner's neon sign flickered in the growing darkness, casting a warm red glow that promised comfort and hot food. Tyler pushed through the door and the smell of grilled burgers and fresh coffee hit him like a wave. His mouth watered instantly. This was it. This was going to be worth every hour of restocking shelves and dealing with cranky customers. "Hey, Tyler," called out Danny, the owner's grandson, from behind the counter. "The usual spot's open." Tyler nodded and slid into his favorite booth by the window. He didn't come here often, maybe once every couple of months when he'd saved enough. But when he did, everyone here treated him like family. That's what he loved about this place. No judgment, no questions about why a kid was eating alone on a Thursday night. He ordered the deluxe burger meal with extra fries and a chocolate milkshake. It cost him nearly $20, which was almost half of what he'd saved this week. But man, he was so hungry. His last real meal had been the school lunch yesterday, and breakfast this morning had been a slice of toast with whatever jam they had left in the fridge. While waiting for his food, Tyler pulled out his phone and scrolled through messages from his friends. They were all talking about the new video game that just came out, making plans to hang out this weekend at someone's house. He typed out a few responses but knew he'd probably be working. He always was. Between school, basketball practice, and his shifts at the store, there wasn't much time for just being a regular teenager. "Here you go, kiddo," said Rita, the waitress who'd been working at the diner since before Tyler was born. She set down a plate that looked like it came straight out of a food magazine. The burger was stacked high with cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, and bacon. The fries were golden and crispy, steam rising from them. And that milkshake. "Perfect, thanks, Rita," Tyler said, and he meant it. She always gave him extra fries, even though she wasn't supposed to. He picked up the burger with both hands, ready to take that first glorious bite, when something caught his eye through the window. Just outside, sitting on the bench near the bus stop, was an old man. He was hunched over, wrapped in what looked like 3 or 4 jackets layered on top of each other, all of them dirty and torn. His hair was long and gray, tangled like he hadn't combed it in months. His hands were tucked under his arms, trying to stay warm. Tyler had seen him around before. Everyone had. The old man was always in this area, usually sitting on that same bench or walking slowly up and down the street. People called him the bus stop guy because he spent so much time there, even though Tyler had never actually seen him get on a bus. Tyler looked down at his burger, then back at the window. The old man's eyes were closed, his face scrunched up against the cold. Tyler could see his breath making little clouds in the air. "Just eat your food," Tyler told himself. "You worked hard for this. You deserve it." He took a bite. The burger was amazing, exactly as good as he'd imagined during all those hours of work. But somehow it didn't taste quite right. He chewed slowly, his eyes drifting back to the window. The old man hadn't moved. He just sat there shivering. Tyler thought about his dad. He'd died 3 years ago. A heart attack that came out of nowhere. But before that, his dad had always been the kind of person who stopped to help others. Tyler remembered once when he was maybe 12. His dad had given their last $20 to a woman whose car had broken down. Mom had been so mad that night, yelling about bills and responsibilities. But Dad had just smiled and said, "We'll figure it out, honey. We always do." But that woman needed help today, right now. They had figured it out. They always did. And that woman had sent them a thank you card and $50 2 weeks later. But Dad had never expected anything back. That wasn't why he helped. Tyler set down his burger. He stared at his plate, at all that food that suddenly seemed like way too much for one person. His stomach was still growling, telling him to eat, to enjoy this meal he'd earned. But his heart was saying something different. "This is stupid," he muttered to himself. "You're being stupid." But his hands were already moving. He grabbed the takeout container that Rita had left on the table for leftovers. He carefully placed half of his burger inside, along with a big handful of fries. He hesitated for a second, then added most of the rest of the fries, too. He kept about a quarter of the burger for himself and maybe 10 fries. Tyler stood up, container in hand, and walked to the door. His heart was pounding for some reason, like he was doing something scary instead of something simple. He pushed through the door and the cold air hit him hard after the warmth of the diner. The old man looked up as Tyler approached. His eyes were a watery blue and they held so much sadness that Tyler almost turned around and went back inside. But he didn't. "Hey," Tyler said quietly. I got too much food. You want some?" The old man stared at him for a long moment like he couldn't quite believe what he was hearing. His mouth opened, then closed, then opened again. "You sure?" the old man finally asked. His voice was rough, like he didn't use it much. "Yeah, I'm sure," Tyler said, holding out the container. "It's still hot." The old man's hands shook as he reached for the container. Not just from the cold, Tyler realized. The man's whole body was shaking. When was the last time he'd eaten? "Thank you," the old man whispered, and there were actual tears forming in his eyes. "Thank you so much, son." Tyler felt a lump forming in his own throat. "No problem," he managed to say. "Stay warm, okay?" He turned and walked back to the diner, not trusting himself to say anything else. As he pulled open the door, he glanced back. The old man had already opened the container and was eating the fries one at a time, like each one was something precious. Tyler slid back into his booth. What was left of his burger seemed even smaller now, and his stomach was still growling. He picked it up and took a bite. Somehow it tasted better than before. Rita came by with a knowing smile and didn't say anything, which he appreciated. What Tyler didn't know, what he couldn't have known, was that someone had been watching the whole thing. Up in the corner of the diner, hidden behind a menu board, a small security camera had recorded every moment. Mrs. Chen, Danny's grandmother and the real owner of the diner, had installed those cameras years ago after a break-in. She checked the footage every night from her apartment above the restaurant, and tonight she was watching something that would change everything. She rewound the footage and watched it again. A skinny teenage boy, clearly hungry himself, giving away most of his hard-earned meal to a stranger. No cameras pointed at him for social media. No friends around to impress. Just a simple act of kindness that nobody was supposed to see. Mrs. Chen saved the video file with trembling fingers. She had a feeling this was important, though she didn't quite know why yet. But something told her that this moment, this boy, this choice, was the beginning of something bigger than any of them could imagine. Mrs. Chen couldn't get the image out of her head. For 3 days straight, she'd been thinking about that boy and the old man. She'd owned Danny's diner for almost 30 years, and she'd seen a lot of things. But something about what she'd witnessed on that security camera stayed with her like a song you can't stop humming. She found herself checking the cameras more often, wondering if the boy would come back. Most kids these days were glued to their phones, taking pictures of their food before they even ate it. But this Tyler kid? He'd done something good and just walked away like it was nothing. It was the following Thursday when Tyler showed up again. Mrs. Chen was in her small office above the diner, reviewing the week's receipts when she noticed movement on the camera monitor. There he was. Same worn-out sneakers, same tired look on his face, basketball under his arm. Her heart started beating a little faster. She watched as he ordered, counted out his money carefully, and waited for his food. The old man was back too, in his usual spot on the bench outside. Mrs. Chen had tried to help him before, offering free meals, but he always refused. Too proud, she figured. Some people were like that. Tyler's food arrived. A burger and fries again, not as fancy as last time. Mrs. Chen leaned closer to the screen, wondering if the boy would do it again. She almost didn't believe it when Tyler wrapped up half his burger, grabbed a handful of fries, and walked outside. The old man looked surprised, like he'd thought the first time was a dream. Mrs. Chen couldn't hear what they were saying, but she could see the old man trying to refuse, shaking his head. Tyler just smiled and put the food down on the bench next to him before heading back inside. "Well, I'll be," Mrs. Chen whispered to herself. It wasn't just a one-time thing. That night she couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Tyler's mother, working those double shifts at the hospital. She'd seen her once or twice when she came to pick Tyler up from the diner. A tired woman with kind eyes who always said thank you to everyone. Mrs. Chen had raised 3 kids on her own after her husband died. working in this very diner. She knew what it was like to count every dollar, to choose between paying the electric bill and buying new shoes for your children. And here was this boy, giving away food he'd probably worked hours to afford. The next week, Tyler came back on Tuesday this time. Mrs. Chen made sure she was watching. Same pattern. Order food, see the old man, share the meal. She noticed that Tyler was eating less and less each time, giving more away. The boy was getting thinner, too. His basketball jersey hung looser on his frame. "Danny," Mrs. Chen called down to her grandson. "That Tyler boy who comes in here. What do you know about him?" Danny came upstairs, wiping his hands on his apron. "Tyler Johnson? Good kid, real good kid. Works at Morrison's Grocery on 5th Street. He's in my cousin's class at school." "Why? What else?" Mrs. Chen pressed. Danny shrugged. "I don't know, Grandma. He plays basketball, gets good grades, I think. His mom works at the hospital. His dad died a few years back." "Why are you asking?" Mrs. Chen gestured to the camera monitor. "Just watch." For the next 20 minutes, Danny watched the saved footage from the past 3 weeks. He saw Tyler come in, order food, and share it with the old man every single time. By the end, Danny was shaking his head in disbelief. "He's been doing this every time he comes in?" "Every single time," Mrs. Chen confirmed. "And look at how much he gives away. That boy is going home hungry." Danny sat down heavily. "Man, I don't even know what to say. Most people walk right past Mr. Walter like he's invisible." "Mr. Walter?" Mrs. Chen's eyebrows rose. "You know the old man's name?" "Yeah, Walter Hayes. He used to come in here years ago before whatever happened to him happened. He was always nice, always tipped well. One day he just stopped coming in. Next time I saw him, he was living on the street." Mrs. Chen felt her chest tighten. So the old man wasn't just a stranger. He was someone who'd fallen on hard times. Someone who used to be a regular customer. That made it somehow worse and better at the same time. "Find out more about him," she told Danny. "And about Tyler, too. I want to know their stories." Over the next week, Danny did some digging. He talked to Rita, who'd been waiting tables forever and remembered everyone. He chatted with some of the older customers who'd known Walter back in the day. He even drove by Morrison's Grocery and talked to the manager there, pretending he was just shopping. What he learned broke his heart and his grandmother's too when he told her. Walter Hayes was 67 years old. He'd been a Vietnam veteran, served 2 tours, and came home to marry his high school sweetheart, Linda. They'd had a good life together, ran a small accounting business, had a daughter named Rebecca. Then Linda got sick, cancer, and the medical bills piled up. After she died, Walter fell apart. Started drinking, lost the business, lost contact with his daughter, eventually lost his apartment. He'd been on the streets for almost 2 years now. And Tyler, the kid was trying to save money for college. His mom made barely enough to cover their rent and basic expenses. Tyler's father had died suddenly from a heart attack, leaving them with nothing but debt. Tyler worked 20 hours a week at the grocery store, every hour after school and on weekends. The manager said Tyler never complained, never called in sick, and was one of the best workers he'd ever had. Tyler was saving for college, but he was also helping his mom with groceries and making sure his little sister had school supplies. The manager mentioned that Tyler had turned down a raise last month, asking instead if the manager could hire his friend who needed a job. That's the kind of kid he was. Mrs. Chen sat in her office looking at all the footage she'd collected over the past month. 8 different occasions, 8 times Tyler had shared his meal with Walter. She did some quick math. Tyler was probably spending about $20 each time he came to the diner. That was at least 3 or 4 hours of work, and he was giving half of it away. "He's going to make himself sick," she told Danny. "Growing boy like that, playing basketball, working all those hours. He needs that food. So what do we do?" Danny asked. Mrs. Chen was quiet for a long moment. She'd built this diner on hard work and honesty. She'd never believed in handouts, always said people should earn their way. But this was different. This boy wasn't asking for anything. He was giving what little he had to someone who had even less. "I want to talk to him," she finally said. "Next time he comes in." Tyler showed up that Friday night later than usual. Mrs. Chen watched him order his food, something simpler this time, just a plain burger and a small fries. She watched him sit down and start eating, watched his eyes drift to the window where Walter sat on his bench. But before Tyler could stand up, Mrs. Chen made her way down from the office. Her knees weren't what they used to be, and the stairs were steep, but she managed. She walked right over to Tyler's booth and slid into the seat across from him. Tyler looked up, surprised. "Oh, hi, Mrs. Chen. Is everything okay? Is the food all right?" "Food's fine," Mrs. Chen said. "I want to talk to you about something else." She watched the boy's face carefully. He looked nervous, like maybe he'd done something wrong. His hand automatically moved to his pocket, probably checking for his wallet, making sure he could pay. "You're not in trouble," she assured him quickly. I've been watching you." "Watching me?" Tyler looked confused. Mrs. Chen pulled out her phone and showed him the security footage. Tyler's eyes went wide as he watched himself sharing food with Walter. Not just once, but multiple times. "I don't understand," Tyler said quietly. "Why were you watching me?" "Because what you're doing is remarkable," Mrs. Chen said. "My grandson told me about you, about your situation. You're working hard, saving for college, helping your mother, yet every time you come here you give half your food to that man outside." Tyler's face flushed red. It's just food. He needs it more than I do." "Does your mother know you're doing this?" Tyler shook his head. "She'd make me stop. She already worries about me eating enough." "She's right to worry," Mrs. Chen said gently. "You're too thin, Tyler. You're giving away food you need yourself." "I'm fine," Tyler insisted, but his voice lacked conviction. Mrs. Chen reached across the table and put her hand over his. "What you're doing is beautiful. But I want to ask you something. Would you let me post this video online? People need to see this. They need to know that kindness still exists." Tyler pulled his hand back quickly. "No, no way. I'm not doing it for attention or likes or whatever. He looked hungry. "That's all." "I know that's why you did it," Mrs. Chen said. "That's exactly why people need to see it. Because you're not doing it for attention. You're doing it because it's right." "Please don't post it," Tyler said, and he looked genuinely distressed. "It would be weird. People at school would think I'm showing off or trying to be some kind of saint or something. I'm just a regular kid." Mrs. Chen studied him for a long moment. She saw the sincerity in his eyes, the genuine discomfort at the idea of being praised. This wasn't false modesty. This boy truly didn't want recognition. "Okay," she said finally. "I won't post it without your permission. But think about it, Tyler. Your kindness could inspire other people to be kind too. Isn't that worth something?" Tyler didn't answer. He just looked down at his plate, at the burger that was getting cold. Mrs. Chen stood up with a sigh. "You eat all of that food tonight. Mr. Walter's meal is on the house from now on. I'll make sure he gets fed without you having to go hungry. Deal?" Tyler looked up at her, and his eyes were shining with unshed tears. "Really? You'd do that?" "Really," Mrs. Chen said firmly. "But only if you promise to eat proper meals when you come here. You're no good to anyone if you collapse from hunger." "Thank you," Tyler whispered. "Thank you so much." As Mrs. Chen walked back to her office, she felt a warmth in her chest she hadn't felt in years. She looked back at Tyler, who was indeed eating his whole burger now, and she saw him glance out the window at Walter. Danny was already outside bringing a full meal to the old man. Maybe she couldn't post the video yet. But Mrs. Chen had a feeling that somehow, some way, this story would get told. Good things like this had a way of coming to light. They had to. The world needed them too much. 3 weeks had passed since Mrs. Chen's conversation with Tyler, and the diner had fallen into a new rhythm. Every time Tyler came in, Danny or Rita would quietly take a meal out to Walter. The old man had stopped refusing after the first few times, though he always looked uncomfortable accepting charity. Mrs. Chen noticed he'd started trying to clean himself up a bit more, using the diner's bathroom to wash his face and hands before eating. But Mrs. Chen couldn't stop thinking about the video. She watched it at least once a day, sometimes more. Every time she saw Tyler walk out into the cold to share his meal, her heart ached a little. She'd been doing some research in her spare time, trying to learn more about Walter Hayes. What she found made her realize this story ran deeper than she'd imagined. One Tuesday afternoon, when the diner was quiet, Mrs. Chen decided to do something she probably shouldn't have. She went outside and sat down on the bench next to Walter. The old man looked startled. "Mrs. Chen, is something wrong?" "No, Walter. I just wanted to talk to you if that's all right." Walter shifted uncomfortably. "I want you to know I'm grateful for the meals. I don't want to be a burden on your business." "You're not a burden," Mrs. Chen said firmly. "I wanted to ask you about your life, if you're willing to share. I know you're a veteran." Walter's weathered face changed at that. Pride flickered across it, mixed with pain. "Vietnam. 67 to 69. Seems like a lifetime ago now. And you had a family? A business?" Walter's eyes grew distant. "Had a wife. Linda. Married her right after I got back. We had 40 years together before the cancer took her. Best years of my life." His voice cracked slightly. "Had a daughter too, Rebecca. She's a lawyer in California now, has 2 kids I've never met." "Why haven't you met them?" Mrs. Chen asked gently. Walter was quiet for a long time. "After Linda died, I fell apart. Started drinking too much, pushed everyone away. Rebecca tried to help, but I was too proud, too angry at the world. I said things I shouldn't have said. Eventually she stopped calling. Can't blame her for that. Have you tried to reach out to her?" "With what?" Walter gestured to his layered jackets and worn boots. "Look at me. I'm living on the street. What kind of father would I be showing up in her life like this? She's better off thinking I'm dead." Mrs. Chen felt tears prick her eyes. "Walter, I don't think that's true. I think she'd want to know you're alive." Walter shook his head. "You don't understand. I lost everything. The business, the house, my dignity. All I have left is, well, nothing really. That boy, Tyler, he's the first person who's looked at me like I'm human in 2 years. Everyone else just looks through me like I'm invisible." "Tyler's a special kid," Mrs. Chen said. "The best," Walter agreed. "You know what kills me? He's got nothing himself. I can see it in his face, the way he counts his money, the way he eats like every bite might be his last good meal for a while. Yet he shares with me, an old man who's got no claim to anyone's kindness." "Everyone has a claim to kindness," Mrs. Chen said. "That's what Tyler understands that most people don't." They sat in silence for a while, watching people walk by. Most didn't even glance at them. A few wrinkled their noses and moved to the other side of the sidewalk. "Mrs. Chen," Walter said finally, "why are you really out here talking to me?" She'd been dreading this question. "I want to help you, Walter, and I want to tell your story and Tyler's story, but I need both of your permissions first." "Tell our story? What do you mean?" Mrs. Chen explained about the security footage, about watching Tyler share his meals week after week. She told Walter about her idea to post the video online, to show people what real kindness looked like. Walter listened, his expression unreadable. When she finished, he was quiet for a long time. "That boy told you no, didn't he?" Mrs. Chen nodded. "He doesn't want the attention." "Smart kid," Walter said. "The world's not kind to people who do good things. They tear them down, look for ulterior motives, say they're just doing it for the fame." "But what if it could help other people?" Mrs. Chen pressed. "What if seeing Tyler's kindness inspires someone else to be kind? What if it helps someone like you?" Walter laughed, but it was a bitter sound. "Help me." "Mrs. Chen, I'm beyond help. I'm 67 years old, living on a bench with nothing to my name but the clothes on my back. A viral video isn't going to change that." "You don't know that." "Yes, I do," Walter said firmly. "I've been in this position long enough to know how the world works. People might throw some money at the problem, feel good about themselves for a week, and then forget all about it. Nothing really changes." Mrs. Chen stood up, her knees protesting. "I think you're wrong, Walter, but I respect your opinion. I won't do anything without both of you agreeing to it." She started to walk away, then turned back. "You know what Tyler told me when I asked why he kept sharing his food with you? He said his father used to tell him that wealth isn't measured by what you keep, but by what you give. His father died 3 years ago, but that lesson stuck." Walter's eyes filled with tears. His father was a wise man. Yes, he was. And he raised a good son. Maybe think about what kind of message you're sending by saying you're beyond help. Tyler doesn't think you are. He thinks you're worth his time, his money, his effort. Maybe you should start believing that too. Mrs. Chen went back inside, leaving Walter sitting on the bench, staring at nothing. That evening, Tyler came in around 7. Mrs. Chen watched from her office as he ordered his usual, sat down and ate his meal. He kept glancing at the window where Walter sat, and she could see the relief on his face knowing that Walter would be fed without Tyler having to sacrifice his own dinner. Mrs. Chen made a decision. She walked down to Tyler's booth and sat across from him again. "Mrs. Chen," Tyler said, looking worried. "Did I do something wrong?" "No," she said. "I talked to Walter today." Tyler's face lit up. "How is he?" "He seemed tired last time I saw him." "He's struggling," Mrs. Chen said carefully. "Tyler, I need to tell you something about Walter. He's not just a homeless man. He's a veteran who lost his wife and his life savings to medical bills. He has a daughter in California who doesn't know if he's alive or dead. He's been on the streets for 2 years because he's too proud to ask for help and too ashamed to reach out to his family." Tyler's burger sat forgotten on his plate. "That's so sad. Is there anything we can do?" "That's what I wanted to talk to you about," Mrs. Chen said. She pulled out her phone and showed him the video again. "I know you said no before, but I think this video could do more than just make people feel good. I think it could actually help Walter. It could help a lot of people." Tyler shook his head. "I don't want to be famous or anything like that. This isn't about me." "I know it's not," Mrs. Chen said. "But sometimes doing the right thing means being uncomfortable. If this video helps Walter reconnect with his daughter, helps him get off the streets, isn't that worth some temporary awkwardness?" "What if people at school make fun of me?" Tyler asked quietly. "What if they think I'm showing off?" "The people who matter won't think that," Mrs. Chen said. "And the people who do think that don't matter. Tyler, you have a chance to do something really important here, not just for Walter, but for everyone who sees this and decides to be a little kinder tomorrow." Tyler stared at the video playing on Mrs. Chen's phone. He watched himself walk out into the cold, watched Walter's face light up with surprise and gratitude. He watched himself walk back inside like it was nothing special. "Did Walter say it was okay?" Tyler asked. "No," Mrs. Chen admitted. "He thinks he's beyond help. He thinks nothing will change." "Then we have to show him he's wrong," Tyler said suddenly. His jaw was set in that determined way that reminded Mrs. Chen of his father, a man she'd never met but could see clearly in his son. "So you're saying yes?" Tyler took a deep breath. Yeah, I'm saying yes, but only if we can really help Walter. Not just get a bunch of likes and comments, real help." Mrs. Chen smiled. "Real help, I promise." "Okay then." Tyler looked nervous but resolved. "Post it." That night after the diner closed, Mrs. Chen sat at her computer for an hour, crafting the perfect message to go with the video. She wrote and deleted, trying to find the words that would do justice to what she'd witnessed. Finally, she settled on something simple. "This is Tyler. He's 16 years old. He works part-time to save for college and help his family. Every time he comes to our diner, he shares his meal with Walter, a homeless veteran. Tyler doesn't know I've been recording this. He doesn't want recognition. He just wants to help. This is what kindness looks like when nobody's watching." Her finger hovered over the post button. This was it. Once she hit that button, there was no taking it back. Tyler's life was about to change. Walter's life was about to change. She just hoped it would change for the better. Mrs. Chen thought about her own life, about the struggles she'd faced raising 3 kids alone, building this business from nothing. She thought about all the times someone had helped her when she needed it most. She thought about the world her grandchildren were growing up in, a world that sometimes seemed to have forgotten what kindness meant. She hit the button. The video uploaded to the diner's social media page at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday night. Mrs. Chen watched the view counter for a few minutes, saw it tick up to 50, then 100, then 200. People were sharing it already. She finally went to bed around 1 in the morning, her phone buzzing with notifications. The video had reached 5,000 views. By the time she woke up at 6, it had hit 50,000. By noon the next day, it was at 500,000. Tyler's life was about to change in ways none of them could have imagined. and Mrs. Chen could only hope she'd made the right choice. Tyler's phone started buzzing during second period on Wednesday morning. Then it didn't stop. At first he ignored it. Mr. Peterson's algebra class was hard enough without distractions, but the buzzing kept coming over and over until even Mr. Peterson noticed. "Mr. Johnson, is there something you need to attend to?" the teacher asked not unkindly. Tyler pulled out his phone, ready to just turn it off, and his jaw dropped. 347 notifications. Text messages, social media mentions, friend requests from people he'd never heard of. He scrolled through, his heart pounding, until he found a message from Danny. "Dude, Mrs. Chen posted the video. It's going crazy. You need to see this." Tyler's hands were shaking as he clicked the link Danny had sent. There he was on the screen, walking out of the diner with food for Walter. The video had been viewed 1.2 million times. "In less than 12 hours, Mr. Johnson?" Mr. Peterson's voice seemed far away. Tyler looked up, his face pale. I need to go to the office, please." Something in his voice must have convinced Mr. Peterson, because the teacher just nodded. Tyler grabbed his backpack and practically ran out of the classroom. In the hallway, he called his mom. "Tyler? Honey, I'm at work." "What's wrong?" "Mom, something happened. There's a video of me online and it's everywhere and I don't know what to do." His mother's voice immediately shifted to protective mode. "What video? What are you talking about?" Tyler tried to explain as he walked through the empty hallways, his voice echoing. "About sharing food with Walter. About Mrs. Chen recording it, about giving permission to post it, about how it was supposed to maybe help a few people, and now millions of people had seen it." "How many million?" his mother asked faintly. "Over 1 now." "Mom, I'm scared. What if people get weird about this?" His mother was quiet for a moment. "Come home. I'm calling in and leaving work. We'll figure this out together." By the time Tyler got home, the video had hit 2 million views. His mother was already there, sitting at the kitchen table with her laptop open. His little sister Lily was home too. It was her day off from school. "Tyler, you're famous," Lily squealed, but she stopped when she saw his face. "This wasn't supposed to happen," Tyler said, slumping into a chair. "I just wanted to help Walter. Now everyone's talking about it." His mother turned the laptop around. The video was on the local news website. The headline read, "Teen's secret act of kindness goes viral. Meet the boy who shares everything he has." "They're saying nice things," his mother said gently. "Look at the comments." Tyler didn't want to, but he forced himself to read. Most of them were positive, surprisingly so. People calling him a hero, an inspiration, proof that good people still existed. But some comments made him uncomfortable. People saying he must be doing it for attention, that it was staged, that the diner probably paid him to do it for publicity. "See?" Tyler pointed at those comments. "This is what I was afraid of." "There are always going to be cynical people," his mother said. "But look at how many more people are inspired. Look at this one. I saw this video and bought lunch for a homeless woman near my office today. First time I've ever done that. Thank you, Tyler." Tyler read through more comments. There were hundreds like that. People saying the video had made them cry, made them want to be better, made them actually go out and help someone. One person had donated to a homeless shelter. Another had volunteered at a food bank. "It's really helping people," Lily said softly. "That's good, right?" Before Tyler could answer, his phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. "Is this Tyler Johnson?" a professional-sounding woman asked. "Yes? My name is Jennifer Rodriguez. I'm a producer for the Channel 7 Evening News. We'd love to interview you about the video. Would you be available tonight?" Tyler's mother grabbed the phone from his hand. This is his mother. He's 16 years old and needs time to process all of this. "Thank you for your interest, but we're not ready for interviews." She hung up. The phone immediately rang again. Another news station. Then another. Tyler's mother turned off his phone. "This is insane," Tyler muttered. His mother sat down next to him and took his hands. "Tyler, listen to me. What you did was beautiful. You helped someone who needed help. The fact that it's getting attention doesn't change the purity of that action. You didn't do it for cameras. You did it because it was right. But everything's going to change now," Tyler said. "People at school are going to treat me different. They're going to think I'm showing off or trying to be special. The people who really know you won't think that," his mother said firmly. "And honey, maybe some things changing isn't bad. Look." She pulled up another screen. Someone had started a fundraising page. Help Tyler save for college, it said. In 3 hours, strangers had donated over $15,000. Tyler stared at the number, then shook his head. I can't accept that. I didn't do this for money. I know you didn't, his mother said. But people want to help you the way you helped Walter. Is that so wrong? Another tab showed a different fundraising page. Help Walter Hayes get off the streets. That one had raised $30,000. Walter, Tyler said suddenly. Does he know about this? Is he okay? His mother nodded. Mrs. Chen called me this morning. Walter saw the video. He was overwhelmed, but okay. Tyler, something else happened. His daughter saw it. She's flying in from California tomorrow. Tyler felt tears spring to his eyes. Really? He's going to see his daughter? Because of you, his mother said. Because you cared enough to share your food with a stranger. Tyler put his head in his hands. It was too much. All of this was too much. He was just a regular kid who'd done what felt right. How had it turned into this? His phone, which his mother had turned back on, buzzed with a new message. This one was from Walter, sent through Danny, who'd apparently given the old man a phone. Tyler, I don't have the words to thank you. My Rebecca is coming home. I'm going to see my grandkids. You gave me back my family. You gave me back my life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tyler read the message 3 times, and by the 3rd time he was crying. His mother held him while he cried, and even Lily came over to hug him, which she never did because she was 11 and thought hugs were uncool. Okay, Tyler said finally, wiping his eyes. Okay. If this is helping Walter, if it's helping other people, then maybe it's worth it. But I'm not doing any interviews. I'm not going to become some kind of celebrity. I'm just going to keep being me. His mother smiled. That's all anyone can ask. Over the next 3 days, the video continued to spread. It hit 10 million views, then 20 million. Tyler's high school principal called a special assembly where she talked about kindness and community, and Tyler had to stand up while everyone applauded. It was mortifying, but also kind of amazing. His basketball coach pulled him aside after practice. You know, Johnson, what you did takes more courage than anything on this court. I'm proud of you. Tyler's teammates, guys he'd been playing with for years, clapped him on the back. None of them made fun of him. A few of them admitted they'd been inspired to do something kind, too. One guy had helped an elderly neighbor with her groceries. Another had donated his old clothes to a shelter. The fundraising campaigns kept growing. Tyler's college fund hit $70,000. Walter's fund reached $150,000. Local businesses started calling Mrs. Chen, wanting to help. An apartment complex offered Walter free housing for a year. A veterans organization set him up with counseling and medical care. Channel 7. News finally got their interview, but only on Tyler's terms. He insisted it be at the diner, with Mrs. Chen and Walter there too. His mother came as well, sitting just off camera. The interviewer, a kind-faced woman named Patricia, asked gentle questions. Why did he do it? How did it feel to know the video had gone viral? What did he want people to take away from this? Tyler thought carefully about each answer. He talked about his father's lessons, about how everyone deserves kindness, about how Walter wasn't just a homeless man, but a person with a story and a family. He talked about how uncomfortable the attention made him, but how grateful he was that it had helped Walter. What would you say to young people watching this? Patricia asked. Tyler looked directly at the camera. Don't wait for someone to be watching to do the right thing. Don't do good things because you want credit. Do them because they need doing. And if you see someone struggling, don't look away. See them, really see them. Everyone has a story. Everyone matters. The interview aired that evening, and clips from it went viral too. Tyler's words were turned into inspirational posts shared across social media. Schools started using the video to teach lessons about kindness and empathy. But the best part came on Friday night. Tyler was at the diner, trying to have a normal meal, when the door opened and a well-dressed woman in her 40s walked in, followed by 2 teenagers. She looked around nervously until she spotted Walter sitting in a booth. Walter stood up slowly, his eyes filling with tears. Rebecca? Dad? The woman whispered, and then they were hugging, both of them crying. Her kids, Walter's grandchildren, hung back awkwardly until Walter pulled them into the embrace too. Tyler watched from his booth, his own eyes watering. Mrs. Chen came and sat next to him. You did that, she said softly. You brought that family back together. We did that, Tyler corrected. You're the one who posted the video. Mrs. Chen shook her head. No, Tyler. I just showed people what you'd already done. The kindness was all you. Tyler watched as Walter introduced his family to everyone in the diner. The old man looked different already. Still wearing his layered jackets, still rough around the edges, but standing straighter. Smiling. Alive in a way Tyler had never seen before. Rebecca came over to Tyler's booth, her eyes red from crying. You're Tyler? Yes, ma'am. My father told me everything. What you did for him week after week. You gave me back my dad. How can I ever thank you? Tyler shook his head. You don't need to thank me. Just take care of him. That's all the thanks I need. Rebecca hugged him, which was awkward, but Tyler hugged her back. When she pulled away, she pressed something into his hand. My business card. I'm a lawyer. If you ever need anything at all, you call me. I mean it. Tyler pocketed the card and nodded. That night, lying in bed, Tyler thought about how strange life was. 3 weeks ago, he'd been worried about having enough money for burgers. Now he had a college fund worth more than his mother made in 2 years. 3 weeks ago, Walter had been alone on a bench. Now he had his family back, all because Tyler had shared his food. All because he'd chosen to see another human being and help them. His phone buzzed one more time. A message from Walter. I'm going home with my daughter tomorrow. Real home, real bed, real family. You gave me a second chance at life, son. I won't waste it. Tyler smiled in the darkness of his room. Maybe all the attention and weirdness had been worth it after all. Maybe Mrs. Chen had been right. Maybe one small act of kindness really could change everything. 6 months felt like a lifetime and no time at all. Tyler stood in front of his bathroom mirror, adjusting his graduation cap for the 3rd time. It still felt weird. He was graduating high school, headed to college in the fall with a full scholarship he never could have dreamed of before. Life had changed so much that sometimes he had to remind himself it was real. Tyler, we're going to be late, his mother called from downstairs. Coming. He took one last look at himself. Same face, same kid who'd shared a burger on a cold November night, but different too in ways he was still figuring out. Downstairs, his mother was waiting in her new dress. They could afford new clothes now. The viral video had brought in enough donations that they'd been able to catch up on bills, fix the car, even take a small vacation over spring break. But his mother still worked at the hospital. I like my job, she'd said when Tyler suggested she could quit. I like helping people. He understood that now more than ever. Lily was already in the car, playing on the tablet they'd been able to buy her for her birthday. She looked up and grinned. You look like a dork. You look like a bigger dork, Tyler shot back, but he was smiling. The drive to school was quiet. Tyler watched the familiar streets go by, thinking about how different everything looked now. Or maybe everything looked the same and he was the one who'd changed. His phone buzzed. A text from Walter. Wouldn't miss this for the world. Saved you a seat up front, Tyler smiled. Walter had been texting him regularly for months now. The old man had fully moved in with his daughter's family in California, but he'd flown back for Tyler's graduation. Said it was important. When they pulled into the school parking lot, Tyler saw news vans. His stomach tightened. Even after 6 months, the media still wanted pieces of the story. Mrs. Chen had helped him manage it, teaching him how to say no politely, how to choose which opportunities mattered and which were just noise. You okay? His mother asked, seeing his expression. Yeah, just wish they'd move on to someone else's story. They will eventually, she said. You're not the story anymore, honey. You're just Tyler. But as they walked toward the auditorium, Tyler knew that wasn't entirely true. He'd become a symbol of something, whether he wanted to be or not. Kids at school treated him with a weird reverence now. Teachers used him as an example. He'd received thousands of letters from people all over the world saying he'd inspired them. It was exhausting, but it was also kind of beautiful. Inside the auditorium, Tyler found his place in line with the other graduates. His best friend Derek punched him lightly on the arm. Big day, man. Yeah, Tyler agreed. Weird to think we're done with this place. Weird to think you're famous, Derek said, but he was grinning. My boy Tyler, inspiration to millions. Shut up, Tyler said. But he was laughing. The ceremony started, and Tyler tried to pay attention to the principal's speech, but his mind wandered. He thought about Walter, who was somewhere in the audience. The old man had transformed over the past 6 months. He'd gained weight, his eyes were clear, and he smiled all the time now. He'd started volunteering at a veterans center in California, helping other homeless vets get back on their feet. Paying it forward, he'd told Tyler, like you taught me. Tyler had insisted he hadn't taught Walter anything, but Walter had shaken his head. You taught me that people still care, that I still mattered. That was everything. The principal was saying something about the valedictorian now, and Tyler's attention snapped back. Wait, the valedictorian was him? He'd known his grades were good, but he hadn't realized they were that good. Apparently dealing with viral fame while maintaining a 4.2 GPA was impressive enough to earn him the honor. Tyler Johnson, this year's valedictorian, will now address the graduating class. Tyler's legs felt like rubber as he walked to the podium. His mother was crying already. He could see her in the third row. Next to her sat Walter, looking proud enough to burst. And next to Walter was Mrs. Chen, who'd closed the diner for the afternoon just to be here. Tyler pulled out the speech he'd written and rewritten a dozen times. But as he looked out at the sea of faces, his classmates and their families, all the teachers who'd believed in him, all the people who'd become part of his story, he folded the paper and put it in his pocket. I had a speech prepared, he started, his voice shaky at first but growing stronger. It was full of inspirational quotes and advice about following your dreams. All the stuff you're supposed to say at graduation. But I realized something this morning. You don't need me to tell you how to live your life. You've all got that figured out. He paused, gathering his thoughts. 6 months ago, I shared my dinner with a homeless man named Walter Hayes. I didn't think anyone was watching. I definitely didn't think it would end up on the internet and change my entire life. But it did. And people keep asking me what I learned from going viral, from having millions of people see this private moment. So here's what I learned. Tyler looked directly at Walter. I learned that every person you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Walter wasn't just a homeless man on a bench. He was a veteran, a husband, a father, a grandfather. He had a whole life, a whole story, and he'd lost his way. But he never stopped being worthy of kindness. None of us do. I learned that small acts matter. Sharing a burger didn't seem like a big deal to me. I was hungry. He was hungry, so I shared. Simple. But that one small choice led to Walter reuniting with his daughter, led to donations that helped dozens of homeless people in our community, led to this whole crazy 6 months where I've gotten to meet amazing people and hear incredible stories. Tyler's voice got quieter. I also learned that attention is weird and uncomfortable, especially when you didn't ask for it. I'm not going to lie, there were days I wished none of this had happened. Days I wished I could just be a regular kid again. But then I'd get a letter from someone saying they'd volunteered at a shelter because of the video, or they'd reconnected with a family member they'd lost touch with, or they'd just been kinder to a stranger, and I realized that my discomfort was a small price to pay for inspiring that kind of change. He looked around at his classmates. We're all graduating today, heading off to college or jobs or whatever comes next. The world is going to tell you that the only thing that matters is success, money, status, achievement. And sure, those things are nice. I've got a college fund now that I never could have afforded before, and I'm grateful for it. But you know what matters more? The fact that Walter gets to watch his grandkids grow up. The fact that Mrs. Chen's diner has become a place where people regularly buy meals for those in need. The fact that communities all over the country started Share Your Plate programs because they saw what one teenager did with a burger and fries. Tyler's voice cracked slightly. My dad died 3 years ago. He never got to see me graduate, never got to know what I'd become. But the last thing he told me was that wealth isn't measured by what you keep, but by what you give. And he was right. The richest I've ever felt wasn't when I saw the donations coming in for college. It was when I saw Walter hug his daughter for the first time in years. So here's my advice, graduating class of 2025. Don't wait for the right moment to be kind. Don't wait until you have enough money or enough time or enough whatever. See people. Really see them. And when you can help, even in small ways, do it. You never know what impact it might have.